Today's Liverpool news brings you three big updates. Quansah's bold message, that's all I can say. What's going wrong inside Liverpool? Experts reveal where the Reds must improve. And we rank Liverpool's top 3 signings of the 2020s. Stay with LFC Transfer Hub tuned, we're breaking down every headline, every source, and every twist right here. Quansah comments on Liverpool crisis speak volumes, that is all I can say. Quansah has laughed off suggestions that Liverpool are facing a mini-crisis after suffering 3 defeats in a row. The Premier League champions were stung by Chelsea on Saturday evening, having suffered narrow defeats at Galatasaray and Crystal Palace. It has led to pundits criticizing Arne Slot's approach, with Jamie Carragher claiming it is far too easy to get at Liverpool. But Quansah, who is part of the England squad that will face Wales in a Wembley friendly on Thursday, smiled when asked if he was worried about Liverpool's blip. The 22-year-old defender said, "I'm not part of Liverpool anymore. I'm not behind the scenes. I don't know what is going on or anything like that, but what I do know is it was an unbelievable team last season, so it is not going to change much in a few months." That is all I can say on that. Liverpool were expected to replace Quansah with Mark Guéhi, but the Crystal Palace skipper's move to Anfield fell through at the last minute. It has left some observers wondering if Liverpool were too hasty in selling Quansah to Bayer Leverkusen for £35 million in the summer. But the player himself explained that he felt compelled to leave Anfield because of a lack of consistent opportunities. And a return to Merseyside is not on his mind, even though Liverpool had a £51 million buyback clause, which can be activated in the summer of 2027, inserted into the deal that took Quansah to the Bundesliga. When asked about that clause, Quansah said, "I play for Leverkusen and I'm not in a position where I think I can just jump straight back in and be the best player in the world and solve every problem. I'm still young and I'm still going to make mistakes. The quicker I iron them out, the quicker I can feel really confident with my own ability and know exactly the player I am, because I still don't exactly know that yet. I'll only get that by playing more games. That's what I'm set up to do at the moment." Quansah, who is still waiting for his first England cap despite being in several squads, has made a promising start to his career with Leverkusen, who sacked Erik ten Hag after only 2 league matches but lie 5th in the Bundesliga table. And he admitted the security of knowing he would be a regular starter was the reason behind his decision to leave Liverpool. Asked why he chose Leverkusen, Quansah said, "It was knowing I could play at a really high level with top players and play in the Champions League on a regular basis. If you try and move to another top Premier League side, you might not be playing in the Champions League. It's been good for myself to make that step and go abroad because I just wanted game time, and when you are at a team like Liverpool, it's not promised because there are world-class players all over the pitch. I just wanted somewhere where they can trust that I might make mistakes at times, but they will look under that and see I can keep pushing and pushing." What's going wrong at Liverpool? Reds told where they have to improve as new verdicts reached. For the first time in Arne Slot's Anfield tenure, Liverpool have lost 3 games in a row. And having tasted defeat at Crystal Palace, Galatasaray and Chelsea, the Reds boss now has 2 weeks to reflect during October's international break. The Reds were beaten 2-1 at Stamford Bridge on Saturday evening, thanks to Estevao Willian's 95th-minute goal, which came a week after a similarly late winner from Eddie Nketiah at Palace. In between those 2 Premier League reverses was a Champions League setback in Istanbul, courtesy of Victor Osimhen's first-half penalty. Slot has much to ponder before the return of Premier League action, which comes when the Reds entertain fierce rivals Manchester United at Anfield on October 19. Here, the Echo's dedicated Liverpool writers pick out what they feel are the biggest issues for Slot to resolve going forward as the champions aim to get back to winning ways later this month. Paul Gorst, figuring out where Wirtz fits into midfield key. In an attempt to make Liverpool a team who enjoyed more comfortable afternoons than the majority of last season en route to the title, the addition of Florian Wirtz was viewed as paramount by Arne Slot and sporting director Richard Hughes. Liverpool might have romped to their 20th championship last season, but rarely did they have it all their own way across their 38 games, and Slot was keen to make them a side who put teams to the sword more convincingly this time out, hence the move for Wirtz, who was seen as someone who could load the bullets for Mohamed Salah and co. It was no coincidence that the Reds' interest in the Germany international was reported back in May before last term had even finished, and while Jeremy Frimpong was the first official signing through the door on June 1, Wirtz wasn't too far behind him after a period of negotiating with Bayer Leverkusen. The gifted attacking midfielder was signed to cover the creative surplus left by Trent Alexander-Arnold's move to Real Madrid, but Wirtz is without an assist or goal to his name after 9 appearances to date. That, of course, is not solely his fault given some of his teammates spurning big chances he has laid on for them, but the £116 million man has yet to showcase exactly what he is all about so far. Figuring out a way to get him contributing while retaining the good parts of last season's midfield feels imperative for Slot right now. Dominik Szoboszlai, Ryan Gravenberch and Alexis Mac Allister were vital last term, while Curtis Jones was also an important player. But at £116 million, Wirtz will be expected to feature prominently, so working on a blueprint that allows him to create while also retaining the solidity behind him will transform the Reds' recent fortunes. These are relatively normal teething problems for a team in somewhat of a transition, but when £440 million has been spent on new signings, these issues are magnified tenfold. It's on Slot and his staff to work out the best strategy now. Ian Doyle, sort out the defending. Forget the forward line, the midfield, and scoring goals. The one aspect of this Liverpool team that Arne Slot needs to address right now is the rear guard. Defenses win titles, and while it's a lot harder to score a goal than to keep one out, the Reds are simply not doing the basics at all well. The finger can't just be pointed at the defense, although with the fullbacks on heavy rotation, a new goalkeeper between the sticks and one centre-back massively off form and another out for the season, it's not as though there has been much stability there. Instead, the issue is throughout the team, starting in the double defensive pivot. Neither Ryan Gravenberch nor Alexis Mac Allister are doing the same screening job as last season, Gravenberch given a bit more license to attack and Mac Allister well off full sharpness, and up front there isn't anywhere near the same intensity of pressing. Having all those new players learning a new way of working in one go hasn't helped. So now is the time to simplify matters. Get players behind the ball, plug the gaps in midfield and think defense first. Some clean sheets will calm everyone's nerves and give the forwards a lot more leeway in which to start producing the goods in attack. Mark Jones, get Alexander Isak up to speed. Hugo Ekitike has had an excellent start to his Liverpool career, especially when you consider the problems that have been going on elsewhere in the team. But the Frenchman is still a young forward in his first season in the Premier League, and you can expect there to be downs as well as ups along the way. Alexander Isak meanwhile is into his 4th campaign in the English top flight, and he scored over 20 goals in both of his previous 2 full seasons. He is a guaranteed source of Premier League goals if he can be utilised in the right way, and right now he might just be Liverpool's best hope of covering a multitude of sins. Isak has 1 goal from his 6 Reds appearances so far, but they have essentially amounted to pre-season runouts for him as he builds up his fitness. 2 games for Sweden over the international break, both must-win home matches, might just be coming at the perfect time for him and the Reds, and if he comes through them fit and firing, then you'd expect him to start at home to Manchester United on October 19th. Isak regularly terrorised some of the best Premier League defences during his time at Newcastle, most notably giving Arsenal's excellent partnership of Gabriel and William Saliba the runaround on more than one occasion. If he can start performing at similar levels in a red shirt sometime soon, then his goals will help spread confidence throughout the side, and English football's costliest ever striker will be dragging his team forwards with him. Liverpool's top 3 signings of the 2020s. Sky Sports news reporters have been selecting their top 3 Premier League signings for their respective clubs since the turn of the decade. Sky Sports News Vinny O'Connor. 1. Ryan Gravenberch. The main individual success story since Arne Slot came in. He now looks an absolute bargain just over 2 years after he arrived from Bayern Munich for £34 million, and it's difficult to believe he's still only 23. The key anchor of the Liverpool midfield in last season's title success, he's more than just a screen in front of the Liverpool back 4 because his ability on the ball is as good as his ability to break things up. He can receive on the half-turn, drive at the opposition and find the right pass. His opener in the Merseyside derby is a prime example of how impactful he can be at both ends of the pitch. 2. Dominik Szoboszlai. The midfielder cost £60 million in July 2023. His ability to get round the pitch at pace, putting opposing players under pressure, was a big feature of Liverpool's press in their title success last season. A goal scorer in the back-to-back wins over City and Newcastle in February felt like real key contributions on the back of the draw at Aston Villa. This season it was his stunning free kick that snatched all 3 points against Arsenal at Anfield, and he's still only 24. 3. Alexis Mac Allister. His versatility has been needed since arriving from Brighton for £55 million in June 2023, being able to play the number 6 role as well as further forward. His strike against Spurs at Anfield as Liverpool clinched the title won the club's goal of the season.